Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Did we get step into a live wire? Are we walking into a diplomatic scuffle with the United States of America and other Western nations? This is a question that has emerged in the wake of the 31 billion Belarus tractor importation deal. And I know our viewers here, some have been trying to slide to my DM asking what could be maybe what's happening behind the scene. And I want to say that for me, I've not been so much into this, but today I read an article from columnist, one of my best columnists, Jaindi Kisero, Business and Economic Affairs, former Business and Economic Affairs editor at the National Media Group. He has one of the most interesting articles on this, and it's titled, for those who are good at reading, you can go and search, Belarus Tractor Deal is a Live Wire. That's the title of that article. So I want to do a lot of reference from it because it is what really gives us the gist. He has really tried to break it down into in a way that you can understand. The government of Kenya, into an arrangement of government to government agreement, got into an agreement with Belarus, an Eastern European country, and in Belarus, for importation of for 31 billion costs that include of agricultural tractors and other farm production and other agricultural production equipments in the country, that is involving another company from Dubai, which is a subsidiary of, I think, the Belarus administration. And questions have been emerging. People have been asking questions on what exactly is at the center of this deal. Now, today I was reading the article that I've just talking about, and he's raising some questions as far as that deal is concerned. And for him, he's actually warning President William Ruto that we are walking into a diplomatic scuffle with America and other European nations that can have a very daring implications on us as a country. Remember, Belarus is one of the countries that is suffering sanctions from United States of America, United Kingdom, and other countries because of his alignment with the Russian nation that is at war with the Ukraine. So this, according to what he's saying, as part of the United States' serious expansive response to Russia's further invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, is sanctioning 24 Belarusian individuals, entities due to Belarus support for and facilitation of that. So it has been going on, and that, so Belarus supports Russia, and Russia has been the center of that. So one of the things that is coming here, and according to what Kisero is talking, is that we are trading with a nation that is already suffering sanctions, and so there are risks into it. So he has tried to speak about the risks, but before we look at that, I want us to talk about something about funding. There is a program. There is two ways into it. According to a cabinet memo, a memorandum of understanding between AFC, Agricultural Finance Bank Corporation, and a Dubai-based entity known as AfriTrade DMCC, one ends up with a narrative that sheds more mystery than light. The program will be funded through a trade development bank on a 7-year period. What is not clear is who is funding? Are we getting a concessional loan facility from Belarus? Or number two, are we really buying direct? And if it is Kenyan money, if it is taxpayers' money, first, I don't think we have that kind of money. Hatuna hiyo pesa. We have our own problems, so we don't have that money. But if we were buying from own cash, or maybe the loan from a local bank here that is going to be serviced later, then we would have done competitive bidding. But on this one, it is open source, government to government, where there is no bidding. It is just one. So probably we are being given a loan here, and it is one that is going to use to serve us in terms of that. But then questions are on if they are giving us loans. Remember, the United States issued import sanctions, export import sanctions, visa traverse, and some other sanctions on the Belarus nation to clip its wings because it was supporting, according to them, an enemy. But then us, we seem to have walked into some live wire. And that is what Jared is saying, that we are trading with a very wrong person. Yes. Ni kama unajua huyu anauza kitu lakini huyu si mtu mzuri. Unajua huyu ni mwizi lakini sasa unataka kununua kwa mwizi. Unaelewa? Inabidi polisi atakutafuta kwa sababu even if you buy, that's the red flag that Jared is raising. Now, according to that article, he has pointed out some 4 risks that we might walk into, and this is what he's saying. Because if we trade with the Belarus nation, and it is suffering sanctions from United States, we can have effect of the US can hit us by freezing our central bank's account at New York Fed. Fed is the central bank of the United States of America, the pillar of your participation in the global financial system. And if you lose access to dealings with the New York Fed, you can find yourself at a place where it will be impossible for you to import food, medicine, and fuel. In fact, the import and exports will really be affected if you lose your engagement with the federal bank in the United States of America, because that's, of course, our financial system is internationally connected. Number 2, when you trade with a country that is in that situation, you run the risk of potential loss of access to global swift money transfer system that can cripple import and export. The other one here is IMF and the World Bank. The Bretton Woods institutions are usually reluctant to deal with countries sanctioned by the main shareholders, which is now the United States and the other European nations. So, bit of it is we run the risk of getting into a diplomatic scuffle with other nations. But as that talks, there comes some questions that then we need to find ourselves, need to ask. Does this fall within our priority areas? Or is it part of our increasing food production intervention? So far, what was in the plan that was launched last year and has also been communicated in public was on fertilizer subsidy. Probably is going on. We are waiting to see if it's going to give us some good produce, the outcome. Apart from that, we are building dams, and these dams are supposed to help us in irrigation farming. Previously, President was in Gulana Kulado in January, and we expect that maybe that should pick up by February, as it was said. We're still waiting to see. And the irrigation farming is supposed to help us. Now, mechanization is also good to encourage, and of course, it is also going to reduce the cost of production. But as to the way I'm seeing it, I don't think it's targeting the farmers directly. I don't think. From what I've been reading, it's going to be taken some to prisons, Department of Agricultural Finance, livestock production. There is one that is going to, some that are going to NCBA, not NCBA, National Cereals and Produce Board. And of course, it's going to be divided across. What we need to just find out, and I think what the nation must be told is, what is this really an intervention that is going to give us? Are we running for the machines if people are hungry? It's another question. We're struggling with the debts, and there is a deliberate effort to reduce our borrowing. Even though we were trying to tweak around with the ceiling, but we are struggling with a bit to reduce our borrowing. Could we be going for more loans, concessional loans, while back home we are shouting about a plot or a plan to reduce our borrowing? That's a question that also comes up. Now, if we are funding, if indeed we are funding, why the government agreements, or are we just taking it because the deal is available? This, to me, we need to be very, 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 very careful, because according to what Jared is saying that the Belarus deal is a live wire. Hapo tunafaa tutoke kwa sababu we are getting into some very murky environment. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my bold. Let's meet in the next analysis.